All right, and we are streaming live on YouTube and Twitch and on the Twitter.
Okay. Oh, there we are. Okay, cool. So I want to make sure I can hear you on. Nice. Okay, good. Okie dokie.
Awesome. So,
So what did we?
this is
So what did we learn from our last show?
we learned AI is scary. AI is
Yeah,
scary.
it is.
Yeah. And so let's get right into it. So, greetings, programs. How's everybody doing tonight? I am your host, the Angry IT Nerd. I am here with my co-host, the one and only Techno George. Say hello to the people, Techno George.
Hello, people. How are you? I hope you're having a better day than I am. So, as long as you're not on the dark web, that's good. So.
Oh, yeah. Because the dark web is scary.
Yeah. We created a Facebook page for the help desk. So there is a Facebook page for help desk. Just go, to Facebook and just look up the help desk. There is a Facebook page there. I do have some articles from PC Magazine. Also, I believe. Let's find out here. I have a look here. I post a lot of other stuff from NASA. The help desk. It's me find that. There we are. Okay, so some of the articles are diving deep into the dark web. That's one of them. The other one that I did post was the one that we had talked about on our first show, our last show, actually our first show last week, skeleton key malware analysis, and
Yep, absolutely.
and so yeah, I have some other ones here I did not get to. Apparently, the James Webb Telescope found an exoplanet which is larger than Earth. And what does that have to do with computers? Well, we need computers to use our telescopes to, find different planets in the solar system. So,
Yeah, it's computers working with physics.
True.
Computers and physics, in order to make advancements in mankind.
Yep.
And
engineering and medicine.
And engineering, medicine, all the sciences and all the technology. So yeah, we are right alongside with NASA and everything, trying to expand.
Yeah, it's amazing. We're looking. Yeah, it's amazing that we're looking for intelligent life because we can't find any on this planet. So
yeah, true. I mean, well, there's plenty of evidence around, but I was about to say one of the main ones is Thomas and his slug shrimp thing, but that's a whole other conversation. It's a whole other conversation.
I think that if we develop it, if we look at it a certain way, his slug theory kind of gets it goes off the rails when, they're spewing, people in ranch dressing. Now that was
True.
all right. Now that was, like from ChatGPT. That's the thing that basically did that. And I was like, well, okay, yeah. I mean, it could be the plot of a Hollywood movie. What is the plot of every Hollywood movie? I mean, I would love to be in those sessions. Well, hey, I got this idea where this big tornado comes and picks up all these sharks and swirls it around, and and then this is great. But yeah, the slug thing, I don't know. It's a little.
It needs work.
It does need work. It's funny to actually hear him justify it. That's the thing that's funny. He's like, no, but you don't understand it. I was like, no, I understand completely.
Yeah,
This is a
no,
B
I
movie. We're
full
trying to
on.
turn this into
I'm
like
trying
a
to turn
really
it
good
into
movie,
an A movie, but
an A
boy,
movie.
you're trying to keep it as a B.
So yeah, yeah. But
But
yeah, he does have some very good arguments, I must say. So
that is true.
and
I will give him that. Yeah, that is true.
and I have to say that because he's my boss. So there you go. So don't cancel our show, please. Anyway,
So last week I saw a
so
movie. It was Lost to the World. No, I believe that's it. Yeah, Lost to the World. It was on Netflix. It's a movie with Mahershala Ali, uh, Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke. Yeah, Ethan Hawke, and which is it's about this group of hackers that essentially cause a civil war in the United
oh,
States.
it's not was it it's not the other movie Hackers, with Angelina Jolie and
No, 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 not that one.
it's not that one, thank God.
Although I will say for the time that it was, I did enjoy the movie for what it was at the time. You know.
Yeah. It's a good potato chip movie. Like if you have a couple bags of potato chips and you have to go through those
Yeah,
bags of potato
absolutely.
chips,
Yeah,
it's a yeah.
it's a good fun
It,
watch. You know.
yeah. It's a guilty pleasure, I would assume, but
But yeah, I
it's
was.
really bad.
And so yeah, and it kind of went down, and the whole movie kind of delved in this whole spiral of, you know, hackers and the dark web and the deep web, and playing on these the conspiracy theories that are just posted and portrayed everywhere, all on the internet,
Yeah.
and it just kind of played on people's fears and the biases and racism and the whole thing, and it's such a good movie. You need to watch it. You
Okay.
definitely need to watch it.
I will write that one down. Okay. Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke. Was it? I'm sorry. It's called again. I'm sorry.
Uh, Lost to the World.
Lost. Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, let me double check it because I don't want to tell you wrong, and I don't want to tell the people wrong, and then be like and get all kind of legends saying, "No,
No, you're
this."
wrong. It's a kyber crystal. Okay.
But yeah, and then it made me think is that about with the dark web and what actually how truly dangerous it is, and how how pretty much kind of almost accurate that it is, that we are essentially almost one big hack away from a civil war.
Right. Right. Because people will actually believe what they
Oh yeah.
believe if they see it on the internet.
Oh
That
yeah.
that's usually how most of us get our news. I don't. I try to use outside sources for news. Um, I like the BBC because BBC is, you know, it's was it it's an outside source. It's usually a trusted source. It's not going, to sensationalize certain things. But
Right.
when I used to watch BBC News on BBC America, and then there's also BBC Transponder 1 and Transponder 2. Transponder 1 and 2, my friend in the UK gets that, but he goes through NordVPN in order to do that. But
Right. It's Leave the World Behind. That's it.
yeah, yeah.
That's the
Oh,
name of the movie. Leave the
leave the
World
world
Behind.
leave the world behind. Okay, I have to look this one up here. not to be confused with the.
Not the Jurassic Park.
No,
not with the dinosaurs.
No, there was a religious movie called Left Behind with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, I remember that one. I never saw it, but I do.
It's based on a
remember.
book. I read the book, where people are caught up in the rapture, and certain people are left behind. Leave the world behind. Okay. Okay. Nice. Julie Roberts, Ethan Hawke, Ernest Ali, Charlie Evans, Kevin Bacon. Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. I will.
Great movie,
I will look.
Yeah. And again, and for anybody listening, great movie. Definitely one to watch. So
and Netflix. Actually, they have some very good movies. We had Netflix for a while. I mean, I had Netflix for I think for 8 or 9 years, and then all of a sudden, they just upped their fees, and
it just got.
I think at one point I had 27 people sharing my account. And then all of a sudden they stopped that, and then it was just and everybody got mad at me. Oh, you turned off your account. I didn't turn off my account. Netflix changed their rules and their policies.
So I didn't turn it off. Netflix turned it off.
Yeah, Netflix turned it off. I mean, once we went streaming and we started streaming stuff, the
security and everything of all that.
It was funny because when I had Netflix, my ex-girlfriend, she bought me a movie, and I was like, okay, so I had this movie, and she mistakenly put it back in the Netflix sleeve and sent it back to Netflix. So I had one of their movies, but I had the thing, and so not knowing that she did this, I sent the movie back to Netflix that I had. Okay. I put it back in the mail, or I sent it back, and I went to go watch this other movie that she got me for my birthday, and it was gone. And I was like, "What's going on with this movie?" She goes, "Oh my God, I think I sent it back to Netflix." I was like, "Yeah, great." So it wasn't. I mean, it was it was Zardoz, like with Sean Connery. So the one with the big, with the big flying head. Yeah, and I was like, okay. So yeah. Anyway,
Sean Connery with the Speedos, but that's whole other conversation.
Sean Connery with go-go boots on. There you go.
And again, whole other conversation on that one too.
The penis is evil and the gun is good. So anyway. So did you get a chance to watch the trailer for the Forbin project, the one with the computer, the all-seeing, all-knowing computer, Colossus, the Forbin project?
I did not see that.
Okay, well, there's a trailer on YouTube. You can see. I think you could pretty much watch the entire movie on YouTube. You can watch anything on YouTube now.
Let me write that down, just so I won't forget it, because with my ADHD brain, I will forget it in a heartbeat. All right, let's see. What's the name of that again?
Well, you have a lot of stuff going on. I got a lot of stuff going on too. So,
what was the name of that again? The trailer? I forgot.
It's called Colossus. COLLOSSUS. The Forbin project. It's Charles Forbin. Eric Braeden, who is on. I think he's on the Young and the. I think he's on the Young and the Restless. Now, okay. It's Eric Braeden, but it's funny because if you watch old episodes of the Rat Patrol from the 1960s, his name is not Eric Braeden. It's Hans Gudist. So I was like, it's real. Okay. I would assume his real name is Hans Gudist, and then his stage name is Eric Braeden. I don't know how that all came about. I just haven't investigated that. But that's for a different show. I'm very sorry about that.
Oh, but yeah, it was. And then it kind of sent me down. Well, watching the Leave the World Behind, it kind of sent me down a spiral of movies about with hacking and the end of the world,
Mm-hmm.
and then the dark web and the deep web, and then so and for whatever reason, since since that movie, just everything has been popping up. Is like just this cyber attack has happened, and Darknet Diaries is one of my
Oh,
favorite podcasts. I love listening to. It was talking about one of the biggest cyber crimes that happened. Um, with talking about blockchaining and
oh yeah.
cryptocurrency and Ethereum and using all this, and I would say that that is definitely a subject I definitely need to get myself a little bit more well versed on
Mm-hmm.
with the cryptocurrency and everything like that, because I understand it to a point, but then after a certain point, it's completely confusing to me.
It glazes over. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Your eyes glaze over after. So you're like, what?
So and
It's
it's okay. So what is? Hold up, and yeah, and it gets to a point where I understand it to a certain point, and then past that, I just get kind of like the deer in the
well,
headlight
apparently,
glaze over, looking just like, huh?
um, apparently there is a register. There's an online register that registers all of the transactions through your Bitcoin and your blockchain. So your Bitcoin transactions are unregulated. It's an unregulated currency. It is currency.
Yeah.
It's called currency, and I'm saying, okay, so, but and you you can publicly trade it on any stock exchange, or I guess for like New York Stock Exchange, but I mean you can publicly trade it through like through different services, but
Right.
you can
Yeah.
buy shares of it now. You can also mine it. I believe the last Bitcoin will be mined in 2042. That was one of the things, and people just don't understand what it is. It is it's supposed to be a reward for processing complex mathematical calculations, and the way you can mine it, which they found, was through an ARU and a GPU. A GPU being a graphics processing unit, and an ARU being arithmetic. Sorry, an ALU, arithmetic logic unit, which is basically an ALU is supposed to be integrated into the chips of your graphics card. So you're supposed to be able to mine it using graphics cards. So if you say like you got like the NVIDIA 5855 card, they actually make they make these power frames. So it's basically a power supply which powers 10 cards, each card mining a fraction of a Bitcoin. Okay, so if you have 10 cards, you've actually increased the graphics power, or the mining power of your online miner 10 times, you would think. What people don't understand is, in order to mine one Bitcoin, you would need 10, it would be 10 to the power of 100. You would need about 10,000 or 50,000 graphics cards to mine one Bitcoin. Now, depending on what the price of a Bitcoin is at this very moment, I don't know what it is. It could be $35,000 for one Bitcoin. If you're making $35,000 a day, you're doing great. But your infrastructure is going to be, you'll be spending, upwards of almost like $2 million to get one Bitcoin, per day, if you have the money to do that.
Right.
Now, there are larger companies which are actually mining Bitcoins, and they're making like hundreds of millions of dollars per day. But it's the infrastructure that's the thing. Also, if you were to mine it in your house, you would be actually your two biggest pitfalls are going to be your power and your heat. The heat dissipation for a graphics card mining, Bitcoin every, like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, your house is going to be a sauna. You might as well just throw sand down and get a sun lamp, man, because you are just going to be,
you're going to be roasting.
It's going to be hot in there. Yeah, you'd be roasting. Yeah.
Because all of that, it takes a toll. It takes a toll on your machine, and my God, and that's not
I mean, it was done. It was done like through computers, through individual computers. But now what they've done is they made these frames. So basically, the metal frame that you would use for a 3D printer or for a laser cutter, those types of rails are being made into frames. So it's an open air type of infrastructure, and you'd have a large backplane, and the backplane you would actually plug all of these cards into, but you're still generating a lot of heat, Yeah,
but that'd be the only way, because if you didn't have a case, then the case wouldn't be trapping that heat, and that'd be the only way, because you'd have to have like giant box fans, like constantly, like the big industrial fans, just like constantly just blowing on it.
Right.
Along with central air or something like that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you'd actually have to have the server, because I used to work for Intel. The server rooms that they had were made specifically, for computers and servers. Mm-hmm. They actually had a dehumidifier air conditioner. I know Dell makes one. I know Triplite makes one, and it can cool a room, like it can cool a server room like 30 degrees in under an hour. That's how like powerful it is. It has it has a dehumidifier on it. So the dehumidifier pulls all the moisture out of the air. You don't want any moisture over your boards, because if you have any moisture, it can create a circuit trap, or like a water droplet can go across two circuit pads and become a power bridge and short circuit out all of your stuff. I've had that happen on certain things in certain testing laboratories. And then but it's a dehumidifier. It pulls all the water out of the air. It has an air filter on it, taking all particulates out of the air, because people who walk into server rooms, if you're not wearing the bunny suit, as I like to call it, if you're not wearing the bunny suit, your hair follicles are traveling, through the air. Your skin, your dead skin going through the air. With your carbon dioxide that you're like releasing is going through the air. All that's getting filtered, and all that is and server rooms are freezing. I was
Oh yeah.
I yeah
I used
I was a
to.
tape librarian for about 2 years, and in the summertime I used to wear I used to wear a jacket in the server room to keep the tapes nice and cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to work at Time Warner Cable before they uh, became Spectrum, and there was a couple times because they had a similar setup with when they first implemented the high speed, the high def cable, high speed, and
Hmm.
the whole nine and all that stuff. And I ran the warehouse here. Well, I was one of the ones that ran the warehouse here, and I kept some of the parts for the server rooms, and a couple times I had to go to deliver them
Hmm.
myself.
Uh,
So the few times that I went in there, I I loved it and I hated it because I liked it in the sense that this is at the time I'm in school, and this is kind of what I'm kind
hmm.
of working towards doing and trying to get into this field of it or this part of it, and walking in there without having a jacket on and just going in there, with with just a short sleeve shirt on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
instantly it's just like, where do you want me to set this at? All right over there. Whew. All right, let me walk outside real quick. I'll be right. Let me get you sign this paperwork.
My my
Yeah, so
my office was in the other because I worked in 3 different buildings when I was at Intel. So my office or my cubicle was um, in another building which had an annex, and you can always feel the heat from one building to the other because the newer building that had my lab, you know, was there, and I used to walk in and go, oh my, and I'm like, oh, it's like really cold in here, like really really cold. So I used to go back. So then, like. I think it was like the first day. The first day I walked into the lab and my boss goes, "You're going to be getting stuff and you're going to be building things." Okay, so when you're building stuff and you're moving around, you're generating a lot of heat. But once the lab was up and running and we had all this air conditioning, and I was like, it's like I gotta put something on. I gotta put a. And it was funny because it was like the middle of July, and I
uh-huh.
had on. I think I had on. I bought because my legs used to get cold. I bought thermal jeans. I bought the line jeans, and my boss is like going, "Dude, are those line jeans?" I was like, look, you stay here
Walk
for
in there.
8 hours and you try to let people come into and I always had to have because I had international customers coming to my lab, so I had people because I lived in Parsippany, but at the time, and the Hilton Hotel was right across the street from where the Intel lab was. So people would stay there, and they'd call me up, and I'd be on call 24 hours a day. I had my little beeper, I had my little Motorola beeper, and I go beep 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 beep. Oh, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I want to get some sleep. I want to run this test, and you escort them into the lab, and you're sitting there, and you're trying to get your work done, and they're doing all their tests. Okay, the test didn't run. I'm going to go back to my hotel, and then you escort them off the grounds and all this other stuff. But just sitting there 8 hours, just you're freezing. You're putting
Yeah,
you're putting and you're going like this, trying to get coffee and hot chocolate, and trying to stay awake. And
or something.
it was it was fun though. It was a fun. It was a fun experience, but
Yeah, just be walking around all there, just nipples hard for just no reason, just because it's just cold. Oh, but yeah,
I had to do um, the one time I had to do we we had a lab called the system test lab. So the system test lab was in the middle building where my cubicle was, at the top floor. But every Saturday we would rotate, the technicians. So somebody would get to take care of the lab for the whole day. And I was there one morning, and what happened was they, the powers that be said, well, we don't need a technical room, because they had a technical room for all of our technicians where, like, we could take boards, we could fix them, we could, fix computers and, and put computers back on the racks. Right. Well, they figured, hey, we don't need the technician, we don't need a place for, for technicians to sit. We're going to turn that into a testing room. So they turned it all into a testing room. They put in racks and computers and everything, and everything was fine. Okay. Until the Saturday that I was on call. And I said to the guy, because I had said to him, I said, well, wait a minute, you're putting all these computers in. Are you putting any more air conditioning in? And they said, no, we don't need it. It's fine. I said, no. You don't understand. This whole room is balanced to 200 racks with 1,000 computers in it. Okay. It's air balanced. If you put this in here, you're going to throw the balance off.
Yeah, you're going to need more AC unit.
Yeah, you're going to need some more AC. And of course, it was the Saturday that I was there all alone. Nobody was around. Middle of July. Everybody went on vacation. Everybody was on vacation, including my boss, because my boss took off that week. And I'm sitting in the system test lab, and I'm watching all these little red lights go off on that thing. Bing, 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 and this one's going bing, 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 and somebody got a call from the computer, because the computer was linked to their beeper. They got a call. They came in. They said, what are you doing about dissipating the heat? And I was like, well, these idiots put, all these computers in, and they didn't put, any more air conditioning in. I was like, they figured it was fine. So, I think we lost each board that that Intel created was it was like a testing board. Each board cost $5,000. We lost about a quarter of the boards that day. They just caught fire. There was smoke coming out of everything, and I was like, okay, yeah, I think we can. Okay, so I'm looking around. And I called one of the maintenance guys. He said, oh, we have these industrial air coolers. Bring them in. Just bring them in. Because the guy that was called in opened up the doors to the lab to dissipate the heat. I said, you can't do that. Because, and like the security guys were coming up. You got the doors open. You're not supposed to have the doors open. We're getting all these alarms and bells and, and I could hear sirens all the way down, the hallway, toward the front desk. And I was like, oh my God, this is just a major disaster. And the guy goes, I had these cooling things. So they set them all up. They put them on, and we were able to cool the lab down. The lab at one point was at 95 degrees. It was 115 degrees outside, but it was 95 degrees inside. And I lost about 20. I lost like 27 computers that had boards in them. Each computer had 1,000-watt power supply with a backplane. Oh, they had these special backplanes, and the special backplanes could hold 20 boards. Each board cost $5,000. I lost 27 computers that day. Just went up in smoke. Boom. And I Monday morning comes,
Oh my
and
god.
like I'm walking over to my like I'm walking over to the building, and my boss was of course my boss comes back from vacation on Monday, and he goes, "I want to talk to you." Okay, and we go over to his office and everything. He goes, "You lost 27 computers on your watch and blah 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 and all this other stuff." And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Didn't you know about the cooling things?" No, nobody told me about them. They didn't tell me where they were. They didn't tell me that we actually had them. I said, if I had known, I would have set them up and I would have grabbed them. I said, I called building facility maintenance. That's all I did. Nobody was around. You were gone. This guy was gone. That guy was gone. Well, how about this
Right.
girl? She was on vacation. She was gone. So, yeah, everybody was
So
gone. I was on my own.
everybody was gone, and you had no clue what was going on.
I had no clue. I had no clue. I was just like, I'm the guy who's supposed to basically, keep these computers running, and I could do that if I have the tools. You didn't want to give me the tools.
I
Hey,
The only thing I could do is just watch it.
I wash my hands of the whole thing. So,
I could just make sure the building doesn't burn down. That's about it.
it was bad because alarms were going off and fire alarms, and they called the fire department, and the one guy came and he said, we have to evacuate this lab. I said, no, you don't. He goes, what? He goes, well, there's all this smoke in this lab. I said, yeah, it's from these computers. He goes, are these computers on fire? I said, no, they're basically burned out. Everything burned out. So yeah, I remember going in on Sunday and actually repairing the computers. I took all the back planes out. I took all the other thing. I was like, okay, well, these are the boards that are damaged. I put the computers back on the rack. I hooked everything back up. It took me like 12 hours. I think I spent from like 9 o'clock in the morning Sunday to it was 5 6. It was almost 12 midnight on Sunday night that I got it all done. And then Monday, my boss goes, I want to talk to you. And I'm like, okay, you did this and blah, 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 blah. And I said, do you think it may have been the fact that they took our tech room away from us and they put more computers in, and they never really compensated for the, and all he goes, when did they do that? And I was like, where were you all week? Like he didn't know. And I was like,
Well, you were gone.
yeah, you were gone on vacation for like 2.5 weeks. I said they implemented this. So, like I bring him into the lab and he goes, when the hell did all this happen? I was like, yeah. And guess what? The power conditioner, the battery backup, didn't have enough power to back up all these computers when they went down. So the battery backup, had to be changed. The fact that the air system had to be changed, and everything. And I said, it was only through the grace of God that I got these, air conditioners in here. And I was able to, bring, the temperature back down like to 70 degrees. And he was like, oh. So then about, like, I think that was Monday. Tuesday morning, I'm in this meeting with the big boss from Intel. And we're sitting around this table, and they're going, Mr. Dare, you were, and they're giving me like the third degree. And I was like, well, I said the powers that be told me that, they took away the tech,
Right.
office or the alcove, and they put more stuff in. I said, I had all the specs for the lab because, I was in charge of the lab, and I said, look, the air conditioners were load balanced for this. This is what they added on. I said, if you add, if you just do a simple addition and you add these computers to this, the load balance should be this. And I said the load balance was subpar. and the switches that were in the rack were also subpar. They added more. They added more computers, but they never added more switches to the rack. So there were network drop-offs.
Oh,
And I was like,
man.
and I said, I said, well, we needed more switches. And I said, the switches were never cascaded. They have because at the time the Intel switch, the Intel network switch, it was I think it was like a 24 port switch.
Okay.
In the back of the switch, there is what's called a feature connector. And there was a special cable you could hook into the back, and you can hook it into the back of the next switch. They were 2U switches, so they were 2U, thicknesses. They were, like 2 inches, thick.
Okay.
They, if you hook a switch into a switch, it's called cascading. You cascade the packets, and the packets run a lot faster. The idiots who put them in, and I think I count myself as one of those idiots. They told me, I said, well, I said, first off, where's the cascade, cable? And they said, we don't have cascade cables. I said, wait, you have a feature. It makes the switch faster. What are you using? We are using it was an Ethernet cross. So they're using an Ethernet cross to plug into, the first switch.
Uh-huh.
So you're losing an Ethernet port and going into the next switch. So I said, so wait a minute. So it's not a 24 port, it's a 23 port. And they were like, and like the light bulb went off in this guy's head, like going,
wait, what?
Oh. I was like, yeah. I said, you have 6 switches. Okay. You have 6 switches. They should all be cascading into the next one. You should have true 24 ports. I said, you're losing 1, 2, 3. I said, you're losing 6 ports. So the 6 ports that you lost, and the more computers you put into the other room, you just lost 6 computers there. What are those computers going to do? Where are they going to?
Yeah.
And they said, well, we ran. So, all right. So here's what they did. They had a phone system on the wall. It was an old phone system. I remember working on it. It was one of the old Beltel, like phone switching systems. They had RJ45 and RJ35 ports on the phone system.
Okay.
Well, the engineers who put the computers in, they ran all the stuff off the floor, and they plugged it into the phone system. I said, why would you do that? He goes, well, that's a switch. I said, no, that's a phone system to simulate call traffic to the boards. I said, there's no switch. I said, it's not connected. They thought it was connected to the network, and it wasn't. So they took all the things and they connected it. And I said, so wait a minute. You have a phone system that's on the wall, not plugged in. I mean, it wasn't even plugged into power. There were no lights on it. And you plug those computers in there. You turn the computers on, and you tried to run the boards off of that. And they said, well, yeah. It was like, okay, it's not going to work because that's a phone system. I said, and they said, I said, so how does that signal get from the phone system to the switch? He goes, well, there's a monitor port. Monitor port was, something that was hooked up to one of the switches. I said, well, wait a minute, you severed that port when you were doing your Ethernet cross things or whatever. So anyway, we were having, what was it? We were having all like these network drop-offs. And my boss said to me at the time, he He goes, well, you have to go in there and you have to find out what these network drop-offs are doing, and you have to analyze this. I'm going to put you on this project. So he puts me on the project, and I'm there, and I'm looking around. I'm like going, I know why we have network drop-offs. We have too many computers and not enough switches.
Right.
So, and then I was talking to one of the network guys. I said, hey, do you have any cascade cables? And he goes, yeah, let me check. So, and he had this box. He had this box of like 250 cascade cables that they never used, brand new in plastic bags, never used them. I grabbed them all. I hooked them all in the back. I took all the Ethernet crosses out, to go into each of the switches.
Right.
And then I added like another 6 more ports. And I was like, okay, this is good. We're good. Okay. So, and then there was this guy, Alan, in the core hardware lab. I remember Alan. Alan was a great guy because we used to talk about Star Trek all the time. And he loved Star Trek. So he goes, I said, Alan, what do you need here? He goes, well, I could really use a Dremel tool because we Dremel out the boards and, we drill out all of the boards. And I was like, he goes, well, what do you need? I said, I see you have the newest HP network analyzer. I was like, could I borrow it? Because I need to find out why we have network drop-offs. And he goes, yeah. So that day after work, I went over to Sears. I bought a whole Dremel set, big Dremel set, like every single attachment you could put on the Dremel. Bought it for him. It was like $150. I didn't care. I give it to Alan in the morning. By the afternoon, there was the newest HP analyzer hooked up to all, it was hooked up to like my big network board, and it was analyzing all the network drop-offs, and it was sending all this data to that thing. And it had this little note on it: George, thank you so much. You've made my life a lot better. Here's a little something to say thank you. And I had the big network analyzer, doing all this stuff. Because my boss at the time, he had ordered this. It was a network analyzer called the Sage. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It was by Sunset Systems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He never ordered it with a network attachment. It was just the Sage. I said, so how much was this thing? He goes, oh, this thing's like $5,000. It could cook your breakfast for you. I said, yeah, but it can't analyze any network drop-offs because it never had the net. It never had like an Ethernet connection. There was no Ethernet connection on it.
Right.
And he's going through his files. Yeah, no, I ordered. He goes, son of a blah, blah, blah. Never did it. I was like, okay. So I helped out Alan. Alan helped out me. He was all, he was all PO'd that he never, did it. But yeah, it's so.
Oh, good times. Yeah. Good times.
Yeah, good times. Oh my God. Wow. Yeah.
But I would say, to all the listeners out there, we are currently in the midst of being able. I'm saying by this time next week we'll be set up to take calls from people. Right now we can take emails, and if you're in the comment section of wherever we are streaming at, you're more than welcome to leave a comment, ask a question. If you need help, tutorial, anything like that, you can email us at gcprhelpdesk@gmail.com. And again, if you are watching at any part of where you're streaming, you're more than welcome to leave a comment, ask a question. Yeah. Next week we'll be set up to take calls. So until then, you can email us again at gcprhelpdesk at gmail.com.
Oh, you have a neat. Oh, nice email section here. Did you want to go till 8 o'clock until Jeff's show? Because then I have to do Jeff's show at 8 o'clock. Was it want to do the other hour? It's up to you. We can if we don't. If you don't, I mean, it's supposed to be a 2-hour show. Instead of me just rambling on about my past.
I know, because I mean, we had to. I wanted to. Well, after seeing everything that I posted about the dark web and the deep web and everything like that, kind of wanted to let some people know, the dark web is a scary place. But there are ways you can stay safe. The first one is stay off of it. That's the very first one. So the next one, and the next one would be stay off of it.
And the next one after that would be stay
off of it.
There was in the article there was the clear web, the deep web, and the dark web. The clear web are web assets that can be viewed through public search engines, including media, blogs, and other pages and sites. The deep web are websites and forums that are unindexed by search engines, for example, webmail, online banking, corporate intranets, walled gardens, etc. Some of the hacker forums exist in the deep web requiring credentials to enter. The dark web are web sources that require specific software to gain access. These sources are anonymous and closed and include Telegram groups and invite-only forums. The dark web contains Tor, P2P, which is person-to-person, hacker forums, criminal marketplaces, etc. This was one of the articles that we had posted on the GCPR Facebook page. It says Tor is a free network built upon open source that allows for anonymous communication. While Tor was originally developed by the United States Naval Research Laboratory, it has become an increasingly popular solution for illegal activities. So yeah. But some examples on the site were very interesting. The People's Drugstore. You can get heroin, cocaine, ecstasy, speed, cannabis, prescriptions, bitcoins, and services. You can get fake IDs, which were very interesting. A fake Social Security card. You can get a fake passport, like a real USA passport. Very interesting.
You can
just to me, but
that's a lot of criminal and crime activity. So so for the average person, stay on the clean web.
Yeah, stay on the clean web.
Stay on the clean web. And I tell people this, and I harp on it. VPN. Get a VPN as well. It's always better to be better safe than sorry.
Right. For those of you who do not know what a VPN is, it's a virtual private network. So, there was one piece of information. It was called the Medusa Stealer. It's a multifaceted. It's a threat actors run worldwide info stealer malware campaigns and steal logs of compromised credentials and device fingerprints. Medusa Stealer is actually I believe it's a piece of malware, and like the Medusa with the many snakes, it actually has it can It can steal crypto wallets, Steam, Telegram, Discord, and also Password Manager. So it can steal passwords and such. So just,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sorry, I'm just reading that from the site.
No, no, that's cool, man. That's good, man. So no, because it's almost an hour. So yeah, and unless we get somebody in the chat or anything like that, I think give some people some good information. Let them know, get a virtual private network, because it always has that little layer of extra security. When you just going
Yeah,
on checking your email or even making a purchase, always want to have that extra security, because there are a lot of ne'er-do-wells and a lot of people that are up to shenanigans out there in the interwebs. And you want to
right.
always stay safe. You always want to protect yourself, and you don't want to get your money stolen. So
Don't make your wireless don't make your wireless network passphrase password. Do not do
right,
that.
do not do that. Do not make a password. Do not make it 1 2 3 4 5 6. Nothing like that.
God, there's another one. It was like God. There is a program I do watch on a website. It's called hack5.org. It's hak5.org. They do have a lot of really cool, tools for getting in to encrypted computers. If you are a technician and you need to get into somebody's computer, if somebody didn't, if somebody gave you a computer to fix, and they didn't give you the password, and you can't get, if you can't get in touch with that person, or maybe they forgot the password. If there was a password, encrypted BIOS password, that you can't get to the BIOS to actually change certain things in the computer if you were fixing the computer. Hack5.org does have a lot of different videos you can watch. They have shows, so they go to the they go to the Consumer Electronics Show every year now. I remember when they first started out, they were just about like certain things called man-in-the-middle attack. So the man-in-the-middle attack was, you would have a laptop. You'd go into a coffee shop, say like a Starbucks, and you could use Wireshark, which is a free application, open source application, to sniff wireless packets. So if people were actually connecting to the Wi-Fi at Starbucks, you could become the router with Wireshark and a couple other little, and like a couple, other little open source, pieces of software. So people would connect to your laptop before they connected to, the router at Starbucks, and you could sniff all their information. You could see what you see what was going on. You could, if they were having private conversations, through chat, through certain email, you could become, the router. It's called like a man, it's called the man-in-the-middle attack. They also have man-in-the-middle attack for cell phones. So if you're on your cell phone and you're chatting with somebody, through text, they have an SMS man-in-the-middle attack. It's called spoofing. So spoofing is basically, you become the cell tower through your laptop, and like a USB. I mean, you can have like an ordinary cell phone that usually I believe the Android cell phones were more. I think that the open source software was better for Android, phones, because you could use open source software
Yeah, because open
If you,
source is it works better with Android than it does with
yeah, the Apple
with iOS.
was more encrypted with the iOS and stuff like that, and you know, um, the Android cell phone. If you had oh my god, I can't even think of the word. That's what happens when you get old. Um, if if you broke into the phone's root password of the phone, there's a particular term, for it. I
Jailbreak it
cannot remember for the life of me. I'm sorry.
when you jailbreak it.
Jailbreak it. That's
Yeah.
it. Thank you very much. I knew it was there. It was there. It was on the it was on the tip of my tongue. You're right there. Yeah. If you jailbreak the phone and actually got to the root password of the phone, you could use that cell phone as a man-in-the-middle attack. But you can actually spoof the phone to be either AT&T or Verizon or Sprint or whatever the carrier was. The newest one that they have is you could use one cell phone and have all three carriers spoofed on the phone. So if anybody is using a Verizon phone and they're texting their girlfriend, or they're texting, or if there's a shady deal going on or whatever, and they're using their cell phone, you can actually sniff those packets through SMS and use those SMS packets. You would actually sniff them, and then you can actually see them in real time on your computer through an open source chat, bot. And the chat bot would actually look at it and say, "Oh, well, this guy is, talking to this girl, but he's really married to this person." And there's a whole, there's, a whole thing you can go through. You can also,
and it all ends in a Reddit story.
Right. Yeah. I've seen those on Reddit. You can also, find PayPal. Like if they have PayPal or if they have Apple Pay or whatever, you can get all that information, off of there. There's certain things. In my vast experience of installing, security measures, like RFID readers and access control, it's called. There's something called the RFID badge. So in all these computers installations that I used to work, all these companies used to work for, you have an RFID badge. So your badge has your name on it, has your particular number, and then the badge is encoded with RFID, which is a radio frequency identification chip. The chip has certain levels of security that you are given, depending upon,
whatever access level you've been granted. Then that's what protocols are that allow that RFID chip, to grant you whatever access you've been given. Yeah. Right.
So, every time you put your badge to a reader and you open up a door, there's something called an audit trail. So the audit trail basically goes to the server and says, okay, well, George was in this section, opened up this door at, 7 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning. But he's not scheduled till 9. Why is he there early? It may send, or it may have an audit warning, which would send an alert to your boss and say, and your boss would, and like my boss would, always call me up and say, "Why are you there so early?" I was like, "I'm trying to get a jump on the day because I know that there's going to be."
Right, what's going to happen.
Like a shitstorm, excuse my language, there's going to be a shitstorm at 9 o'clock. I know what's going to happen. I'm there just to make sure,
to get as much done as I can now,
because once it
hits 9 o'clock, I'm not going to be able to do.
Right.
I'm not going to be able to do this.
I'm not going to be able to do my work. I'm going to have to do everybody else's work because nobody knows what the hell is going on. So, basically, that. So,
So
um,
I know that feeling. I know that feeling all too well. Yeah, I know that feeling.
I mean that I don't know. It was fun to work at Intel because I used to just get my bagel. I would get like my healthy drink in the morning. I had this. I forget those. Oh, they were called Hansons. They were Hansons.
The pretzels, like the pretzel bits.
No, no, no. It was a drink. It was like a soda. It was a
Okay,
Hanson's
okay.
healthy sodas, and one of them was like it was called Energy. I used to get it every morning. I used to get a bagel with peanut butter on it, and then this little Hanson's drink. And this thing would make you do 16 hours of work in like 30 minutes. You could just, I mean, I would just be up all day long, and I would always crash at 6 o'clock in the evening. 6 o'clock in the evening, I was like home, and I said, and I'm out. And then I'd get a call. I'd get about like an hour's sleep, and then I get a call. I'm at the hotel. I need to do a test. No, I just got to sleep, and I sleep while they're doing the test, and then it was 24 hours a day. But those things, man,
That sounds like it'll get you wired, and then you
those
just
things were
boom.
like Red Bull. Yeah, that was before Red Bull became popular. But
Oh
yeah,
man,
they not.
that
I mean,
is
they don't only. I mean, they don't only give you, like wings. They gave you cocaine. They gave you everything,
give
man.
you
They just did the
give you
fucking.
a healthy mix of everything.
A healthy mix of every single drug known to man. They mellowed you out. They kept you awake. Yeah, I know. So it's like,
Oh,
yeah, but yeah,
and on that one,
yeah,
we're
the
right at an hour.
RFIDs.
So yeah, we've been right at an hour.
Was it you?
So
Was it you? Want to go till 8? Want to go till 8? We can go to 8 if you want to, or you want to go to 7:30. It's up to you. You want to go to
I don't
7:30?
have it. There's nobody in the chat and haven't got any emails.
Okay. Well, if you want to end it here, we can
So
end it here.
yeah,
It's up
let's
to
just
you.
go ahead and end it here. And
All right,
so
because I have to get ready for Jeff's show. And
yeah, and
yeah.
reminder to everybody: the emails are open. I know I just announced it and everything like that, and so I'm not expecting like no flood of emails just like the next 5 minutes or so. But we have an email set up, for anybody that has an inquiry, needs a question answered or anything like that. You can email us at gcprhelpdesk@gmail.com. gcprhelpdesk@gmail.com. If I don't know it, the answer, then George will know it, and if George doesn't know it, then we are all in trouble. And
if it concerns vacuum tubes and SCSI, I'm all down with that. If it's I am trying to create a mnemonic memory circuit from stone knives and bearskins. That's enough. So yeah.
It sounds like an interesting science project you have going on there. and on that note, I think we'll call it a night. So
we will call it a night. Jeff Kennedy comes up TKE tonight. The Kennedy Effect comes on GCPR at 8 o'clock.
So stay tuned
tonight.
For that
and after Jeff at 11 o'clock, I believe, is Conversations with T. Nathan on GCPR, Ghost Call Productions Radio.
That is correct. Stay tuned for both of them. They'll have a great conversation. You'll learn a lot. And everyone, take care.
Take care. Have a good night.